Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of College Sucks. I'm your host, Samantha Davidson, a student affairs professional who has been in college most of my life. Now, this week I had a completely different topic that I wanted to share. I wanted to give tips on, and then just out of the blue, on my drive down to work on Monday, I had something so unexpected and a little bit frightening happened to me. Now, I'm completely fine. I'm okay. But it was something that I was not expecting, something I hadn't budgeted for. Not that we can genuinely prepare for, freak accidents or mishaps. And I don't know, but things like that sometimes kind of wear on me mentally. And it's a little bit harder for me to bounce back. You know how some people are like, oh, at least this didn't happen or that didn't happen. I don't know why. I've been trying to do the work, but I can't get my brain to get there immediately. Like I feel kind of shocked and then I feel kind of sad and then I have to work my way through that into getting back into, the mode of positivity and being, all on the bright side. So I had a whole other topic planned, but there's something about this word that has been coming back to me, and I've been saying it to my students. And then today I was reading a post of someone who went to the same graduate school as me. She's actually from St. Elizabeth, where I work, and we've never met, but we were in graduate school together, never ran into each other or anything, became internet friends and really communicated in that way. And this week was her birthday. And one of the things she said she was really grateful for was that when she was in university at a particular age, she decided that she wanted to define the kind of woman she wanted to be. And this week, as she celebrates her birthday, she is proud to say that she has become the kind of woman that she imagined, a woman that understood or has grit. And so that's the word that has been turning up for me last week. And here it appeared in the post. And now I'm going through my own experience and I'm thinking, okay, I really need to find my grit. I have to bounce back from this situation. I cannot be swayed or derailed because of something unexpected. And as college students, that's the message that I have for you. So, this week's episode is grit, the college survival skill no one talks about, but everyone needs. College Sucks, episode 16. Stay tuned. The difference between completing your college program and dropping out is really great. College throws you into a lot of stressful situations, failure, self-doubt, and moments where you simply want to quit. I've been to college 3 times, and trust me, this is a fact. There was never a year that I didn't feel like, okay, can I do something else? And so it's not always the smartest person. It's not always the most talented person. It's the person who is going to stay consistent and stick with it and try and, persist despite the odds. Those are the people who are succeeding. So this week I want to share with you how to build that resilience, how to keep it going when college feels impossible, and why grit might just matter more than intelligence. Okay, so first of all, what is grit? Some of you may have heard the word, but you are not that familiar with it. You wouldn't be able to hand out a definition. So, according to psychologist Angela Duckworth, grit is a combination of passion and perseverance. It's not just working hard, it's working hard despite setbacks, despite failures, despite wanting to give up. Grit is what keeps you going when you fail a test, mess up on a paper, or feel completely lost in your program of study. The key difference between students who succeed and those who don't isn't how smart they are, it's how they respond when things get hard. Now, let's talk about it. There are times, or there were times, because I work at a college now, I'm not still going. I need to sometimes bring my brain back to that. But when I was in college, I literally felt like the lecturers, the administrators, just the people who ran the place, everybody that had anything to do with it, that they literally had a meeting. They all came together and they were like, okay, how can we torture this cohort? How can we make them feel so small, make them feel so stupid, make things so hard for them? How can we ensure that if they come to ask for one thing, they might have to go to 5 places? Oh, and let's make sure that when they get to place number 5, which could have easily been place number 3, if we're being honest, it's closed. Or it's somebody's lunchtime. Let's do that. Or, they somehow are in cahoots with the universe. So it's like, oh, let's make the exam harder than they imagine. Let's put all the topics that they said, oh no, it won't come and they don't need to study. Let's put those. Oh, and let's drop something else in the mix. Let's have some family turmoil going home. Let's see if we can call home and, tell their parents to get on them. Oh, let their significant other break up with them or cheat on them, or let's start a scandal on the campus about them. Let them fall out with their friends. Let student loans so they can't find a document. Yeah, let's lose something. I literally used to feel as if the whole place was conspiring against me. And then strangely enough, other people were having similar experiences, probably worse than mine, because some of the things I said, they honestly did not happen to me. But when it is going on with you or your friends, it feels as if it's just happening to this group and they're just definitely after you. Even somebody who is not sure about the course but seems to be functioning okay, you're just thinking, oh, the university is good with them, but definitely not good with me. And so you have to have something else to zone in on, because I mean, in Jamaica, they're like, trouble doesn't set up like the rain. There's no warning, there's no indication. And university literally is that. It is designed to test who can manage, who will be the next leaders, who's going to run the place, who can deal with this thing called life as adults without parents, without backup, without support, who can handle something, who can be a good doctor, a good nurse, a good teacher, a good engineer, who can manage high pressure situations. They designed the curriculum to test you. And that's what happens, and that's what makes it so hard. It's this chill place with all your friends and all the freedom you can imagine at a very expensive price. Let's be so for real. But you have paid to be tested. And that's the thing about it. So college pushes you. It feels impossible. Your lecturers, they do not care. They're not your friends. You feel like you're behind everyone. Your financial struggles are piling up just like your coursework. And so all these things come together and just make college this tough space. Like, why? As soon as I'm done with one thing, here comes something else. I said to someone that life is the cope to cope to cope. As soon as you're done coping with this, then you have to cope with that. And it's just string along, string along, string along. Like, OMG, get off me. Give me a break. And anytime it felt as if, okay, I'm in rhythm and I'm smooth sailing, my friendship group is good, my little relationship is good. Here comes a new course, a new lecturer to say to me, yeah, you're not impressive. Oh, that essay, please to do it over. Okay, I don't know what that was. I said read 10 to 15 sources. You obviously read 5. And we know what we're looking for. And what kind of writing style is that? Like, you would just be torn up. I remember once At you, you did a sociology exam. No, from morning, sociology and me, we did not go together. We did not get on. No, being an adult, I get it. Okay. Sociology is really the study of people and society, and it comes up with their theories and their categories, which help you to make sense of the world. That's really what it is. But at the time, I did not have these adult lenses looking through. I could not imagine why I had to know a functionalist from a Marxist, from a, say, I can't even remember some of the things. And I did sociology at A level. So I thought, okay, naturally an advantage. Let's take a course that I am going to be I have some familiarity with. I had already passed it at A levels. Like, how hard could intro to sociology be? Listen to me now. It was hard. It was so hard that people who had it as their majors, when we got back our first exam result, like everybody was in tears. Everybody was toe up mentally. Could not believe. I don't know what they were looking for. Okay. Even if you had studied, even the person who I thought was really good at it from when we were doing it at A levels, even they said the exam was a challenge. So when they said they didn't get the grade they wanted, I was like, oh snap. I am definitely on the borderline. Because I'm the type of person like, okay, I'm gonna study, but not too hard. I mean, first year doesn't count. But you have to pass those courses though in order to continue. So, let's not get ridiculous here. So, when we were all screaming and carrying on over it, and then I got my results and it was like a C plus, I nearly lost my mind. And then there's a thing because when something like that happens to you, you immediately go into panic, right? So, if your other grades were B's and A's, you have pushed those to the side now because something right here, right now is commanding your attention. And so you run to the library, you as a matter of fact, you try to see if you can drop the course. Okay? You try to see if you can drop, you're running to the dean's office, like, I need to get rid of this. I'm not naturally inclined to this. I cannot do this. I need to go do something else. This is not it. And of course, you're late or there's a line and everybody else wants to drop it too. And it's just madness. It's crazy. And just being able to calm down and to bounce back from that and to understand that it's just a mid semester. A C plus can turn into an A. It really can. Okay. The world is not over. Nobody has died. You have not died. If somebody had held my hands and said that, I would have slapped them. Okay. And I'm not a violent person, but I would have, because you do not understand my pain. You do not know what I am going through. What are you talking about? This is awful. I'm literally sending myself to university. I took a student loan. You don't get it. Like, it just feels like everything. And that's where really having an understanding of a setback as a challenge, as a problem to solve, as something that you can look back and be like, if I can bounce back from that, bring on the next challenge. You have to be schooled in that. You have to learn that. You have to have a multiplicity of experiences of things not turning out how you expect, of feeling panicked, of feeling like a failure, and still rising and meeting that and matching it and saying, you are not more than me. Okay, I've got this. Being able to do that repeatedly is the way in which you develop your grit, and that's what university does for you. And so even people who have not gone to the university, they will tell you that they've gone to the university of the streets. So they have been through difficult situations and they had to persevere, and that has taught them a lot. You can really tell the difference between two people who have one person who has had to find grit very early in life and somebody who comes into it later. But just know everybody needs grit, because you cannot give up at every challenge. I'm talking to you right now and I'm literally preaching and healing myself. So, grit is just that thing. You have to get it. And college, honestly, is the safest space to do so. You want to really practice and try to get your grit before you step out into real life, okay? College is a space that you have to make mistakes, to try again, to experiment. At least you have three pieces of coursework or two and then an exam. You know, you can always bounce back from that. Real life isn't always that forgiving and provides you with that many opportunities for a redo. So, listen, if you are in college right now, if you're in first year, if you're in second year, even your final year, work through on building up your grit. In real life, when you're out there adulting, you're going to be so grateful that you did. All right, so let's jump into it. How do you build grit in college, right? So I have some tips here, 5, to help you to work on building up your grit. So the first thing is that you need to reframe failure. For me, I don't know what it was, but seeing a grade that was close to failure or even failing something, like I said, it just felt like the end of the world for me. Now, at my big old age, having gone through university 3 times and just having a multiplicity of life experiences, I now look at failure so differently. And I'm telling you, I wish I had picked that up earlier. I wish I had read Carol Dweck's very boring book, but very central book, Mindset. It really speaks about your ability to learn anything at all, right? For a long time, I thought I would never be able to drive. And I'm still learning how to do that. I don't think anybody ever passes completely how to do it because every day brings you a new road, new people, new experiences. So once I read Carol Dweck's book, I started to look at failure as opportunity. Like it was saying to me that you are not where you need to get to be good at something yet. That very magical word, yet. You're not there yet. All right. So instead of seeing failure as proof that you're not good enough, see it as proof that you're trying. Every failure is a lesson. So you don't leave a situation blank. The only way you do, and I find that a lot of students do that, like they'll get a mid semester and they'll fail and they will have no discussion with the lecturer. So can you imagine if you believed beyond the shadow of a doubt when you left that exam that you passed, that you did well, that you were even going to get an A? And then you get your results back and it's not what you expected. It wasn't what you wanted, and you simply pack that up, put it in your bag, and you're vexed for the rest of the day. You probably go down to your room or go home and you cry, or you eat your feelings, whatever you do, or sleep it away. You have missed out on an opportunity to really learn how to get good at that course. You have to analyze what went wrong. You need to ask questions. You need to ask your lecturer questions if possible, if they're approachable. You need to ask yourself. You need to go back and examine the content so that you can truly learn the topic from back to front and say that you know this for sure. The next tip is that you need to commit to the long game. See, college is not 1 year or 2 years unless you're doing postgraduate studies. It's 3 or 4 years. So it's not a sprint. It's not even 400 meters. It's not it. It's a marathon. Okay. You have miles upon miles upon miles to go. You're going to have rough semesters, bad grades, and moments of doubt. You have to be prepared for it, you have to expect it, and you have to keep going. Of course, you're going to maintain a mindset of positivity, but you are not going to be naive. These things happen, and it's what you do when they happen that really matters. The next thing is that you need to find and hone into your why. Grit comes from having a reason to keep going. What's driving you to finish your degree? It's easier to push through if you have a bigger goal in mind. For me, one of the things that has always kept me motivated is that I always say when I start, I finish. I'm very serious about that. If I have started a program, if I have started a course, if I've started an endeavor, I am going to finish it, especially when it comes with a tuition. No, when it came to my driving lessons, I did put those on pause a couple times. But the last time when I committed to it, I stuck to it until I got my end result. All right. You have to clearly define your why. And oh, because my parents sent me is not enough. You need to dismiss that and find another one. Because I want to be financially independent, because I want to get through, I want to have a degree. Something, you need to find your why. The next thing is you need to surround yourself with gritty people. I love gritty people. I love people who are they're not pessimistic. They're not, oh no, this happened, this is so sad, this is the end of it. I love a doer. And I want to be surrounded by doers. I want to be surrounded by people who are into solutions. Not when I am sad right away. Like, let's not hurry up and drive past the problem. But at the same time, like after you've listened to me, after I have gotten it out how I feel, what advice do you have for me? How can you help me? If you are around people who quit when things get rough, you are going to quit when things get rough. You are the direct reflection of what surrounds you. So find friends who are gritty, who love to push forward, who like to finish. I enjoy finishing. I'm a finisher. The next thing is that you need to take breaks, but do not quit. I've said this to students. It's okay if you need a semester off. There is no harm, no foul, no shame. Sometimes we have to stop, regroup, and start again. And oftentimes, that restart, I don't know what it is. It was like a pit stop, like, you know, those race cars when they stop and they change the tires and they give them something to eat or drink or something. I don't know what they do. I'm really not in, I don't know why I even pull for this example. I have no idea what's happening, but I know a pit stop comes from there. And it's like they get this surge, you know, it's a refueling. So sometimes there's nothing wrong with a pause. Some people have a problem with pausing because they feel like, oh, if I pause, I'm not going to be able to restart. If you have your why, you are always going to be able to pick up and go again. So it's okay to take a break. Rest when you need to, but don't let a bad day turn into a bad semester. And that's one thing that I say to my students too. Listen to me. You have to feel sad on a schedule. Okay? How long do you want us to cry about this? How long do you want to be upset about it? And this is something that I don't know where I picked it up. It may have been one of the books I've read, a podcast I've listened to, something I've watched, but it literally said you have to set a timer on sadness. No, it's not that the sadness disappears. It does not. It might creep back when you least expect it, but you cannot be in a 15-week semester and spend a whole week of that doing nothing. You have to regroup unless you are physically ill, because there's a surge, you know, once you get better, of this whole heap of energy that comes back to you. So sometimes when an illness is a setback, it's not that bad because then, you know, you have all the support around you to really push you. But when something makes you sad, breaks your vibe, you can't afford to sit in it too much. You cannot let that take a hold of you. You have to get up and keep moving. I'll tell you that in university for me, my final semester was really weird. And I mean, I've had moments, instances like dealing with student loan, you need grit. Dealing with UE admin, you need grit. And I mean, they have improved, okay, since I was a student there. Like, they actually want you to be there. I felt like they wanted us to leave. Okay, like we were a bother. And I am sure that there are students there now that still feel the same. I'm sure there are students at this college who feel the same, even though I believe, like, from my desk, I try as best as I can. But, you know, people are people, and you're never going to find people every day perfect and chirpy and whatever. Things are going on in their lives as well. So When I was in university, I felt like a major inconvenience to the people who came to work there to serve us. And so I remember in my final semester, a lecturer of mine who ended up being a really good friend, who is still a really good friend, said to me, if you do not get your grades up, you are not going to have the degree that's going to matter because you have just been coasting. Okay. You have just been chilling. You've just been passing these courses with these B's and these, B minuses. You're good, but these are not enough, friend. These are average. And you're going to need a super semester. And I don't know where that power of focus, that level of dedication, that stick to itiveness, that just on point with everything, that this girl who used to procrastinate like crazy, who used to sit down and have long conversations with friends, listen to music for hours, sleep for hours, all of a sudden I found my why. And my friend and I, like I said, get gritty people. We were in the same predicament, right? And we came up with a strategy. And even when we were not studying in the same space, we were studying. So she lived at Preston, I lived on Seacole, and there would be nights, like on the weekend, when I would be on campus, and I would hear the phone ringing, and I would know that it was Georgie calling me from Preston on the phone because we didn't have cell phone. Oh God, I'm aging myself. Never mind. We had cell phones. I just didn't have any credit. And she would be calling me because she was majoring in media and communications, and I was doing a first degree in history with a minor in political science. She also had a minor in political science. So any courses that we were doing together, she would just be calling me. And, she was my best friend at the time, really like her sister. So she would be calling me. She'd be like, are you still studying? Yes. Did you eat? The usual stuff like, oh, did you have my book? Did you collect these notes? And, that kind of thing. Like we became study partners, even from two different halls. She would just call to check to make sure that I wasn't going to a party because I needed to be in my books. There were times when people would come to my window and they're like, yo, you're the only person on the hall, girl. And I'm like, because I need to be. It's fine. I had to put off all the fun things and really keep my head in my books. And I will be forever grateful for that lecturer turned friend for just saying to me, hey girl, you need to get it together. And I will always be, anytime I'm in a low moment or I feel as if I can't manage something, I will always go back to that time because I had to make the impossible possible. I had to get all A's. Yeah, I needed 5. Do you know how much fear you feel when you have to get that? It's a lot of fear. And just being able to really do it, like when I wrote my final exam, and funny enough, it was that same lecturer's exam that was my final exam. And he said, please, close your pens. You're done. And I knew that was a response. I was in that library. They knew me, okay? They would lend me books, extra time because I was in there so much and they just knew nobody else was going to come and borrow them. But I really found my grit. And so even now, many years after, I left undergrad so long ago, I'm almost sure the degree is expired. And you is actually celebrating 75 years this year. And I've been invited to one of the alumni things and I'm going to go because even though I felt like UE was one of the roughest times for me in my life, it taught me so much and I am forever grateful for it. That's really where I learned grit. I studied it and I excelled in it. And now that's the experience I can zone in on anytime I need it. All right, so this episode is already running long, but what I will say to you is that college will test you. It's supposed to, okay? But if you can develop grit, If you can keep going even when everything in you wants to quit, you will not only survive college, but you will thrive beyond it. You will be successful. So listen to me, no matter what you are going through. If you were in tears listening to this episode, if something that you thought could never happen to you has happened, if you have had one of the worst experiences of your life and you are alive and you have survived, I'm here to tell you to keep pushing, keep trying, keep failing, keep coming back stronger. You can do this. You got this. Nobody no more than you, friend. You can do this. So if you liked this episode, share it with your friends who need some encouragement. And always remember that college sucks, but this podcast is here to help you get through it. Please follow me on all my socials and share this episode, like and subscribe. Thank you very much for listening. Bye.